Right, this is the reading activities today. Everyone has a sheet to do. They're very similar, but you only really need to work out which one is for your group. So Miss Dempsey will explain them all. You can just fast forward if you like and have a look for your name up the top. They're all to do with putting things in order. Okay, and on each sheet you'll see some words taken from the stories in bold or dark writing, and I'll ask you to fill them out in order of when they appeared in the story. And then the second activity will be some writing. So Wombats, you're up first. So Wombats, here are some words from the story, and you have to work out, going back through your story from Sunshine Classics, which order they go in. So which one of these do you think would be in number one? Bubbles in the air, bubbles in my hair, bubbles in the soap suds, bubbles on the stairs, bubbles in my nose, bubbles in the water, bubbles in the bubble pipe, bubbles everywhere. Now if you have a look down the bottom here, Mr. Dempsey's put that last piece in there, so that's the very last page. So you can have your book open on Sunshine Classics while you're actually doing this on your sheet, and you have to work out, rewrite down there which order they go in, because that's what we've been learning this week. The second activity that I'd like the Wombats to do is have a look in the two spaces. You're going to draw two pictures of where you can find bubbles that is not in the book. And underneath that picture you're going to draw, I beg your pardon, you're going to write a sentence just like the ones in the story. So you might draw a picture of somebody blowing bubbles with a blower like in a party. So you draw your picture there, and underneath you would say bubbles from the party. Or you might draw a picture of somebody in the park with a bubble blowing machine, and underneath you'd write the sentence bubbles from the machine. So writing the sentences just the way that they were found in the story. All right, that's you done, Wombats. Once you finish that, this will get glued into your literacy books, and then you'll be able to pause and fast forward this movie or look out for the spelling movie a bit later on. Okay, kidners, you are doing a sheet to follow up with your Sunshine Classic book, The Traveller and the Farmer. You will see here in your dark black bold writing some parts of the story, all the things that the traveller did with his ingredients and the farmer. And I want you to see if you can put them in order, rewrite them down here. The first thing, second, third, fourth, and the fifth thing in order from the story. Okay, so you're putting it in a sequence for me. The second activity for you is a writing task, which you can do in your writing books. You're going to write a recipe for a nice tasting soup, just like the one in the story, but you might make it more fancy. What about slug, slime and cabbage? Or stinky seaweed and mud soup? So write your own crazy recipe in your writing book. You might have a little trick in it like the traveller did with his stone. If you have time and you would like to do something extra, you can pretend you're a newspaper reporter. You've been asked to find out about the magic stone soup. What questions would you ask the farmer? So you can list your questions in your writing book so we can share them when we're back together. Okay, A Hug is Warm, Wallabies. This is your book that you are learning about this week. So I want you to sequence the events in the story. You were comparing things to a warm hug. So in your story you had a bath, a stove, a fur coat, a hot water bottle, soup and toast, and hot chocolate. And I would like you to rewrite here in order when they appeared in the story. The last one's been done for you, and that was a hug is as warm as Huggles. Once you have written out things in the right order, your next task here in each box is to think of two other things that hugs are warm like. You might say that I would probably say that hugs are as warm as my dog Harvey. So I would draw my picture there of Harvey, and I would write my sentence underneath. So don't forget you have to write the sentence underneath that matches the story. So just like the story wrote, a hug is as warm as, you would write underneath your picture, a hug is as warm as, and write the word that your picture shows. Koalas. I'm sorry if this is not as, if it's a little bit foggy. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. There you go. So today you're looking at crossing the road, and you have your parts of the story in bold writing. Your job is to work out where they go in order. Okay, Miss Dempsey's put the last one in there for you down the bottom. Mrs. Maggie Mox put on her glasses. Look at that accident. So these other 6 here have a place. You have to work out, going back through your story on Sunshine Classics, which place they go. What was the first thing mentioned, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth thing that you heard or read in your story. The next activity is a writing one. So I'm going to ask you, please, in your writing books to make a list of words to describe what kind of character Maggie Mox is. Be kind, but you might come up with words like muddle-headed or forgetful or crazy. Words that are not unkind, but a little bit funny, as she is too. And the next task there says, design a road sign that will help her to avoid any more accidents in the future. It can't be a sign that you've already seen, so I don't want to see any stop signs. It might be a stop sign with a twist, or it might be a give way sign with a twist. So have a look out your window when mum or dad are driving and see what signs there already are. Your job is to come up with a clever new one to help Maggie Mox not to cause any more accidents. Hi Dingoes, it's your turn now. You're going to do a sequencing task on your story, The Babysitters. So you can see there all of the different animals that looked after baby crocodile. You have to work out the order. Now you're allowed to go back and read your story and have your story open on your screen if you want to help you as well. That's totally fine. The last one I did for you. I looked after your baby, said the monkey. No snip snap. But which animal came first? Was it the tiger? Was it the giraffe, the hippopotamus, or the monkey? You have to try and work out the order in which to put those parts of your story. And the next activity for you is writing. So in your draft writing or storybooks, I want you to write a list of instructions that you think your mum or dad might leave for a babysitter. Do you think it would be feed lollies all night long? Or maybe mum might write down play Nintendo Switch for hours and hours? No, I don't think so, but you can be a little bit nonsense and funny with that. What are some things that your mum and dad might write down for your babysitter? Maybe they need to write on yours no snip snap as well. All right, penguins, you're up next. You have been reading Mrs. Pie's Pool, and you are going to do your sequencing activity, putting these parts of the story in the right order. So we know that she had some problems with some ducks. We know that she solved the problem, thank goodness, with a pond. But which order did it come in? All right, now you have to work out all the way through to number 7. All right, I'll give you a clue. The last step, though, I've left there for you on the bottom, so hopefully you'll put that one in quite easily. Now, once you put all of the activities in order from your story, you need to now go through and do a writing activity. So in your draft writing book, you're going to write a list of rules people should follow when they are using a pool. And the next part of your task is to design another sign that Mrs. Pie could put up to solve her problem. So she might have a sign with ducks and fancy worms wiggling on the sign, so the ducks will follow the worm sign. It's got to be something a little bit unusual, and I bet you can draw that for me in your writing books. All right, seals, you're learning about Catherine the Counter. She liked to count so many things, but most importantly, she liked to count the days to her birthday. And I've put that down the bottom there for you, so that's the last part. But all the other parts of the story, I wonder if you can put them in order. What did she like to count first in the story? What was the third thing she liked to count, or the fifth thing? So getting you to write down all the things in order or the right sequence. And your last task, once you've done that, is to write in your draft writing book something that you like to count that is not in the story. Maybe you like to count the freckles on your toes, or you might like to count the number of times the dog burps after his very full dinner. Why do you like to count that? And then I want you to ask your family members to describe what they like to count, and you can write about it in your books too. This sheet can be glued into your reading book, but if you could do this for me, I can't wait to read it. Now, this is the end of all the reading tasks, and the next video will be spelling.